Hey everybody, this is Discord user Slappy White with Radish Digital, powering creators of the first. Honored to have American Texan Plays, Wonders Workshop, Be a Hero Gaming, and Capricorn here for the bi-weekly roundtable. Bi-weekly for the moment. We'll see how it goes. Welcome everybody. How's everybody doing? And we'll do a quick round. Grace, how has your week been going?
Rocking and rolling. I'm ready for fall break.
Awesome. Capricorn.
My week has been absolutely insane. I'm opening a concert venue in my city. And yet, even with all of that going on, I'm still the most excited about Wonders. And today, I actually ran an entire Learn to Play section at Wicked Comic Con in Boston, which I had to rush home from to be a part of this. And we taught a whole bunch of new players how to play. Surprisingly, a lot of people coming from Pokemon today. So that was fun.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow. That's great. Spreading the gospel. American Texan.
Howdy, American Texan here, and it's been a fantastic week, and what a great way to wrap it up and jump into the new week than talking some Wonders.
Well, speaking of talking some Wonders, we're going to try something a little different this week. I mentioned a little surprise to the panel who are here. I'm going to bring up a couple things that were mentioned recently in Discord, just kind of news of the day for folks who aren't glued to Discord and might have mentioned it. Also want to see the experts, which you guys are. I want to see what you guys are thinking. All right, first off, this just came in minutes before we're taping this live on Sunday, October 5th. But what you ended up having is Pristine Pulls says, anyone want a Wonders collection getting out of the game? And Pristine Pulls has been there for a while. Yeah, I love the facial expression. That's what I wanted to hear. All right. So just Ben, I saw the look on your face. What's your initial thought when you see that?
That's not the, I know that's the first person that's done this. And I know a lot of people get kind of freaked out when they see someone post on the Discord, hey, I'm selling my whole collection. I'm getting out of this. People get worried. It doesn't worry me at all. Doesn't worry me at all. And if someone wants to sell their collection, I would love to pick it apart and see what I want to take out of there. Not worried.
Okay. And even though Capricorn, he's got two, because you two had the biggest facial expression. That's why I'm going to you guys. I think he has two one-of-ones. He had two stone foils at least. But for someone who's had, such great pieces of collection and cares about, the play, the collecting, what does that mean to you? It kind of like Ben is like, people are going to come, people are going to go. It's just...
I just think it's crazy when people are selling their collections off this early. I'm not worried about it per se. I just think it's nuts. Like, the player base is going to be 100 times, I feel, in a year. And that means, as rare as things feel right now, when you have the demand of like 100 times the player base now for these cards that the print window is slowly going to close on, like, that's like selling off your Black Lotuses like in year 2 of Magic. It's like, you guys are crazy. Like, I get it. There's a lot to this game. There's a lot to the collectability, and it can be daunting. So maybe some collectors are like feeling a little in over their head as far as keeping up with it all. And they're just gonna like, clear their mind a little bit and try to I don't think, when I see a collector do this, I don't think it's because they think the game's not going somewhere. I think it's more about like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. Look at all these other collectors who are like fighting tooth and nail to get all this stuff, and like, can I really keep up with it? I think it's more that.
It's, by the way, just Jay, thanks for commenting. If anybody wants to comment on YouTube or on X where you're following it, we'll make sure to respond to your questions. You said like the Lotus correction. I think someone pointed out that the print run of the Lotus is actually much higher than many of the cards in this collection.
Yep.
But American Texan and or actually Ben, did you want to add something before I go to Texan and Grace?
No, the only other thing was, I don't know what the situation is with Pristine Pulls, but I've seen some people post their collection for sale if they, suddenly run into some dire financial straits and they need to get some cash, because there's a lot of people that want to buy the cards. And so that's what seems to me how a lot of people are kind of falling into that. Is like, oh, I need to get some cash. You may want to buy all this stuff from me so I could pay for this or that. But you got to be careful in anything, dumping all your money into something. I mean, by all means, collect it, play it, have fun with it, but don't dump all your money into it. So you have some in reserve.
All right, Texan, we'll let you and Grace have the last word on Pristine pulling out.
Yeah, I don't know Pristine pools that well. I'm not too concerned about anything. You know, I looked at the collection that they were selling. It's about $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 of cards, depending on how you want to price it out. That's a very, very nice collection. Certainly larger than my collection. It's not the largest collection. It's not what I think maybe even the top 1% of collections are going to be. Could be for anything. Pristine pools, just I don't know anything about them, but if they're a collector, it could be that there's a game coming out and they want the capital for that game, or maybe they just got they're just over it, right? Like not even overwhelmed, just this doesn't bring me joy anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I even talked about that in my video yesterday. One of the things you want to be as a collector is be able to pivot. If you don't follow the sunk cost fallacy, if it doesn't bring you joy, if you don't like collecting it anymore, or you want to switch to a different game, go for it. And that's something that I think should be celebrated if that's the case. And let's not make it more than it needs to be.
And just before Grace goes too, that's exactly what I'm doing with Wonders. I mean, I have an insane amount of Magic cards and Pokemon cards that I've been dumping to get more Wonder stuff. Not because I think Magic and Pokemon's going to tank. It's because I really like Wonders, and I want to buy more of that.
Wow, that's a snippet that the Wonders team needs to cut right there and put into their marketing. It's like that was authentic and raw. I like that. Grace?
Yeah, I mean, I think let me start by saying I know nothing about Pristine Pulls as a person. So like this is just me speculating based on a collection being sold after some of the conversations that have been happening in the Discord over the past couple of days. And it's kind of in line with what Ben was talking about. Like Frenchie has said in the past like couple of days through all the big conversations that like if Wonders isn't bringing you joy, then you should think about whether or not you should be investing in Wonders. And I think, I'm not saying that that's why Pristine Pulls is doing what he's doing. Like I said, I know nothing about him as a person, but I think that there's definitely, it's definitely interesting to see that one after that happening, like right after a big long conversation about how if you're not getting what you want out of the game, like, it's just an interesting correlation. I will not say causation.
Well, I thought we talked a couple weeks ago, guys. We're going to see a little bit more disagreement. I don't want you guys all in agreement. Like this is a nothing burger. It's like, let's talk about this. Like I said, Pristine Pulls, he has 2 stone foils. He's out.
Look, I'm going to throw this out there. Okay. I've never seen Ben and Pristine Pulls in the same room together. All right. You want to speculate? Let's speculate about this. I think Ben's dumping the market here.
Ben, do you have any answer?
I have an alter ego that no.
Well, so you guys are right that a lot of times my favorite of all time. Well, it's not my favorite. It's like I feel bad, but it's True Blue Ninja. He had to buy hay for his livestock, and so he had to sell an asset that he loved, but he had to sell it because he needed hay. But usually people mention that, like, right. It also helps to tell the community because you do get some sympathy points. So it will be interesting. I always reach out regardless of who leaves. I always reach out to folks who say they're leaving to ask why they're going. I don't call them out afterwards. But I like to know to keep a pulse on it. And I just want to say that that's one thing that's important is that, let's be clear on the Wonders game. Every year it's in existence, there will be people leaving and there'll be people coming in. And you got to have more people coming in, obviously, than leaving. So people leaving is not a huge problem, but it's something we just need to keep an eye on because is it a canary in the coal mine? Is it something that the Wonders team needs to pay better attention to? With that said, one thing the Wonders team is paying attention to is, did you see, and I know this is a group of players, collectors, yes, but players as well. So you're not as in tune with Whatnot, but Whatnot has changed the rules. And it looks like they're going to make it so that Wonders cannot be broken on Hobby Club, which is one of the fastest growing channels on Whatnot. Now, the Wonders team is looking, let's see, Jeff's exact quote, Frenchie, is that what he ended up saying is that Frenchie said, yes, we've reached out to various contacts to explain our corporate structure. Obviously, no reason to approve Bow Battle Arena and not Wonders, I'm paraphrasing, with full knowledge. I'm sure it was simply the extreme money they've made on Boba versus Wonders, and they don't know we have multiple titles. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but any thoughts just about Wonders not being broken on Whatnot? And do you think that hurts us?
So I didn't know that. So this is something that Whatnot doesn't allow? Is that what you're saying?
They're implementing a new policy, and they're
I think
gonna
it was
there's approved product. Sorry, go ahead, Cap.
Yeah, I think it was a decision just made today.
It's
I do-
very
I-
new.
I do want to just add that, like, if you read between the lines, I feel like I know that Boba is highly sought after in a lot of spaces, including, Whatnot. And Jeff is not shy about using that to his advantage, to make sure that Wonders is as successful as Wonders can be. So if I was a betting man, like, behind the scenes, they're leveraging that, and they're going to make sure Wonders has a place for sure.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
here's something- Go ahead, Grace.
I mean, I don't. I mean, there was. I think I saw a break starting earlier today. A Wonder. Somebody posted about a Wonders break starting. So, like 2 days since that announcement has come out. I don't know if there have been any consequences from that. I really enjoy watching the Whatnot, and I think it would be really bad. Not really, really bad, but I think it would be bad for the game if Wonders couldn't be broken on Whatnot anymore, because the number of people that I've seen come into Wonders from Whatnot because they hopped on a random stream is, I need more than all my fingers and toes. Like it's a decent chunk of our player base right now, and of our collector base are coming from just seeing random Whatnot streams.
There's
I
no
completely
way. There's no way it's going to stick. That's my
Exactly.
opinion. There's no way it's going to stick.
The Wonders team is not going to let it happen that Wonders can't be broken on Whatnot. I just don't believe that this is going to last long.
But
Ben,
I was just going to say, here's something that we can disagree on, because I agree with Grace. I've been on like a couple of Whatnot streams, and I've seen people say, "What game is this? This looks really cool." And they say, "Oh, this is Wonders. It's fast, growing game, blah, blah, blah." But I do not like live streaming. I realize why they do it, and I know it brings people into the game, and it's the hot thing right now, but I can't get on board with it. I don't know. So, someone convert me, but for some reason I don't like it. I just feel like it's all hype, and the only reason why it's a big deal today is because collectible card games are so hot. And I think when things cool off, all those Whatnot streams are going to die. Maybe not.
So I just put in the group chat the press release, or at least the Sports Illustrated commentary on the press release. And from what I'm reading, it's only the repacks. It's not breaking sealed product. It's taking your collection and repacking it into your own booster packs, or repacking it into surprise packs, or what do they call them? Surprise boxes. That seems to be what the press release is saying. So they don't want just anyone grabbing comics or other collectibles and repacking it themselves. They just want certain product being repackaged. That's what I'm seeing on here.
That's going to hit certain breakers harder than others. Like our different Wonders breakers. I can tell you that there are some of them that mostly do repacks, and some of them that just do straight rips.
Yep.
Yeah, and listen, I love the repacks, because the repacks is a more affordable way for me to get some of the cards that I'm looking for. And it's also, I love playing the Whatnot games. I hate how much I love playing them. It's kind of like being at the casino. Now, Ben, Ben's point. Listen. To Ben's point, right? I will say this. Online breaking has broken the trading card industry. That's why there are constant sellouts at stores, and why we've got lines lining up every morning to buy out the shelf at Target.
I don't think it's good for the game long term. I don't think
we've got a major problem here. Okay, but it adds another element, right? You could be a player, or you can add the element of collecting, and you can collect an orbital, or you can add an element of collecting a theme or something like that. And when you have different ways to purchase product, right? You can buy and rip, that's fine. But, oh, like, let's play a game and see who can get the better pack. And whoever gets the better pack gets a bonus card. It's a form of gambling. I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
But it's also like gambling. It can be done responsibly, and it can be done with a lot of fun.
Ben,
so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Google Kings.
All right, you have a lot of points,
special breaks
American
and all that.
Texas. Jen, let Ben respond.
I don't know what to say. I don't say. I just because I guess I feel like so. So one of the breaks, I bought the Duatian Frontier, which is one of my favorite lands, but I ended up with like 35 of them. And so now every time I open a pack and I take a Duatian Frontier out, I'm just like, another one of those things. I have a billion of those, and so it's soured that part. But I again, the gambling aspect is one point, but also I just feel like it's all hype and. Not so much with Wonders, but there's a lot of other card games that people complain and say, hey, how come I can't get boxes, yet all the streamers have boxes? And I know people say they buy in bulk and they buy ahead of time and they stock it and they save it, but it frustrates regular people when they can't get boxes and the streamers have piles and piles of boxes.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% on you with that. The organizational structure of how trading card businesses have not caught up to where consumers want it to be. I 100% agree with you on that. And the thing that really grinds my gears, the thing that really chaps my, is that a lot of these breakers don't know anything about the game. Like when I started on Whatnot, I started with Marvel cards, and there were people that were ripping cards like, I don't know who this character is, and oh, this is that character that did this from the movie, and they're looking at comic art, and they're talking about the character in the movie, and that bugs the heck out of me. And when Wonders first came out, there was a few breakers that just bought a couple of cases from the Kickstarter, and they don't know anything about the game, they don't know how to play or whatever. Like at least the one that just started breaking this weekend, Cyber something. Like they actually appreciate the art. They want to learn the game. They're interested in tournaments. Like I like that. They're a new breaker in the game. Sure. They want to learn that. But then there's some others that were literally like they couldn't even pronounce something like Duatian Frontier and that was a joke. How did you say it, Ben?
You can say Duatian or Duatian.
Duatian. I've never heard it said.
And I do want to give
look at him go below the belt.
I do want to give a shout out to Hobby Club and Mitch, because actually what's funny about Mitch is obviously they do a lot of Bow Battle Arena breaking, but Mitch actually, he had to learn the athletes because Mitch is a TCG guy. So Mitch loves breaking Wonders and he loves getting into it. So he has an appreciation. But yes, to your point, American Texan, you can fake it with Bow Battle Arena. You can't fake it with Wonders. And so you see some of the people in there.
Mitch is the exact reason why I'm so conflicted, is because I love watching Mitch. He's great to watch, and he's into the cards. He's so exciting, and he knows all the cards, so he's great to watch. So I am conflicted. I feel like it is fun to watch those, but I'm like, no, is this good? I don't know.
I think
again, to bring it back to like Vegas, there are some dealers that you love to watch and you love to play against. They make the night, and then there are some dealers that are literally like, this is their 5 o'clock shift, and you just. And same thing too. If you ever been to Benihana's,
I don't know.
You get the chefs that were really into it, and then you get the chefs that are like, this is just a job to them, and they're not exciting at all. Sorry.
All right, great. Grace, final word, and then we'll go on to the next one.
This is my hot take on this conversation. I think if all the breakers were like Mitch and Hobby Club and had passion and weren't, keeping people from being able to afford the stock, breaking would be great. But it's not that way. And so it's good and it's bad. And that there's, the answer is that you can't be both right, and is that it's right and wrong, and that the universe is complex.
There is one thing I want to add here is I don't feel confident to know enough myself whether it's good or bad for the player, for the consumer. But what I will say is it's definitely good for the game. And if a lot of these other games are doing it, and it's another way to get eyes on the game and to get people to get excited and build hype for the game in a certain sphere of consumer, like the game needs to try to utilize that to bring more attention. Like we're the little guys, we're the underdogs, and every little trick or tactic we can use to try and be a blip on people's radar kind of needs to happen. So at the end of the day, is it good or bad for consumers? I don't know. Ben makes some compelling points, but ultimately it might be a necessary evil for the game. so that the
Ooh,
game can become what we all know it has the potential to be.
He called it an evil. Ooh, I don't know if I'd go
I know.
that far.
You're going to see Mitch ripping wonders with a Darth Vader mask on. All right, the final
It's
news.
an evil, but it's a good evil. You know, it's like an evil that
It's a
doesn't.
good evil. Okay.
Best
All right.
kind of evil.
Final news piece before we get to the actual meat of the show. And of course, for folks who were not in the Discord, I'm putting it up here, but I'll read it as well. From our own artist in residence, Rommel, is what if I said these things about Call of the Zones? The strongest orbital from existence is still the strongest orbital. The most popular orbital from existence will have some of the most unique cards. The least popular orbital from existence will have some of the most game-altering effects. There is at least one card that breaks into the top 12 for me, and it's not from Boundless. My favorite piece of art in the set was not created by me. My favorite card was not designed by me. There are 3 existence cards that are not currently staples that will become staples. There's a card that my daughter helped me design the art for. One staple may see a rise to sit solidly in the top 5. Call of the Stone's best strategies are going to make you reconsider your favorite orbitals. I hesitated bringing this up. This was a huge post by Rommel, and I didn't want to bring this up because I don't want to turn this into a 3-hour show. I don't want to make the show all about Rommel's post, so it's going to be very hard. So I'll let you guys go after that piece of meat that I just threw in.
First of all,
review.
somebody tell me what's the most powerful orbital, and somebody tell me what's the most popular.
Exactly.
Orbital, I don't know.
That's exactly, Mike. We got to have context and
What's the
definitions
least
here.
popular orbital? Like,
Is it
I don't
Sulfera
know.
or is it Umberthine?
I'm gonna say this. In Orlando, all 4 of the top 4 decks in the constructed main event all had heavy Petraea.
Yep. I just
Petraea
made.
is the only orbital to have attuned wonders, which have the ability to fight by themselves and don't need another card in order to do so, like attuned equipment and Heliosynth. And Petraea also has the only wonders in the game that can be harvested like lands. And both of those things are incredibly powerful, and it seems like the top 4 decks in Orlando recognized that. So I'm gonna say Petraea.
I think we're all in agreement. Petraea and Boundless are the top 2. Like I think they trade places depending on the game.
What the meta looks like.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thalwyn and Helios, I think, are in the middle. I think the bottom 2 are Sulfera and Umberthine.
And I do have to say, I want to thank Capricorn for posting his videos showing, again, that final tournament and also talking about deck construction, because knowing that that's what people do with their decks, I went a completely different direction with mine. So just wait. It's going to blow your mind.
I'm excited. I am excited.
All right. And anybody else is like, what? Say that again, Ben.
So is that what's the most popular? We'd say Boundless and the Petraea?
I think Boundless is probably the most popular.
Yeah, I think Boundless is still on top.
In the least. Now let's hear what each of you says is the least popular.
I'm gonna say Umberthine. I think Sulfera Wonders are the least popular, but overall Umberthine.
Grace, tell him why he's wrong.
I've seen too many people requesting Umberthine Wonders in chat recently, and there's too many people collecting Umberthine for it to be the least popular. I don't know what the least popular is, but like it feels like every other request I'm seeing in the trade channel right now is for Umberthine.
Well, you can't tell him he's wrong.
You can't tell. I'm talking about playing.
You can't tell him he's wrong and then not have an answer.
I would say that I have seen less Sulfera in decks than Umberthine. Now, I'm also biased because I play an Umberthine deck, but, you know, I've just seen so many requests in the channel for Farmless Foil and OCM Umberthines, which tells me that there are a lot of people building decks with Umberthine in them. So I don't think that it is the least popular.
Well, Capricorn, you're nodding your head. You're in agreement? Sulfera is the least popular?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I think so. There's different ways you can interpret this is the thing. Like most popular, least popular for collectors. Most popular, least popular for players.
Right.
Most popular, least popular for like big meta decks that some of the top placers in like the TTS tournaments are using. Like there's different ways to look at it, because I feel like Umberthene's really popular among the general players, but I don't necessarily think it's super popular among the people who are placing high. If that
I think the point of the post was to be obscure and to confuse us and to make this conversation happen, but not really tell us anything.
I will.
And let's be clear about Rommel, is that he is both a collector and a player. And you could see where he talks about his daughter doing artwork with him, right? That's not about playability. He's talking about collectability. He's talking about the artwork, different things like that. But then when he's also talking about staples, he's talking about playability too. He gets into both. So he's, to your point, Grace, yes, he's the master of ambiguity.
I will say this. I had a conversation with him once. I believe it was while we were out at Origins. And he iterated to me that he thinks that Sulfera is very slept on and underappreciated by the community, and they just keep overlooking how good Sulfera can be. He feels very, very strongly about that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he might be talking about Sulfera.
And again, Capricorn.
My next build.
And again, what Capricorn's referring to is the least popular orbital from existence will have some of the most game-altering effects. So, which would be interesting, right? Is that it was overlooked then. And of course, we talk about collectors, but for players, maybe you want to go and look at orbitals that people have overlooked now because we know the players are going to complain about the cost. Once the collectors figure out that this is the desirable orbital, they will swoop in. So listen to what Rommel's saying if you're a player.
The thing that kills me about this game, though, probably one of my biggest frustrations is 50 cards, and there are so many good abilities in every orbital. And I think, I look at one orbital, I think, oh man, I really want to get some Death Strike abilities and Deny. That's so cool, but then I gotta have all Umberthene, and then I leave out the Patria cards we were talking about with all this action advantage. But not only is there such cool abilities in all of the orbitals, but there's certainly cards that people I think just like to play because they like the cards. They think this is my boy, this is my girl. I love to play these cards just because I love the card. And maybe for the people who are a little less competitive, I just like to play these cards. I like to run them because these are some of my favorite cards. So it's tough. I struggle with figuring out. And that's why I asked the question, what's the most popular? Because I don't know. There's cards in all the orbitals that I like.
Yeah, for a group like this, I knew that was going to be a hard question because you guys never want to crap on anything about Wonders. And it's like, you might crap on a little detail, but to dismiss a whole orbital, that's beyond the realm of your capabilities, all four of you. So I wasn't expecting much.
Let's just do this. Top three favorites, because and for me, it's not really mechanics. It's like cards I like. Patria's on top. I like green. Sulfera, and then Boundless. That's me.
Now are we
Grace,
talking,
what do you got?
like, we're talking about personal favorites, not what we
just
think is best
all
or
around,
just
not because of
the one
mechanics,
that you personally like.
I like them.
This isn't in order. Heliosynth, Umberthene, Sulfera.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Umberthene, Foul Winds, and Heliosynth.
Wow, they all win. Cap?
I really like Boundless and Heliosynth. It's hard for me to pick a third, to be completely honest. They're all even to me, man. They're just all so good.
We're all over the map.
But definitely Boundless and Heliosynth in the top. I just think they're the most. They do some interesting things that are more unique than other card games I've played, and that's really compelling to me. It's more refreshing coming from like other card games and stuff. But yeah, I guess if I had to pick a third, it'd probably be Patria, just because it's doing so well for me right now, and I'm a little biased.
But you run Caliph and Thick Fur. I know it already.
Ben, you were the only one who didn't say Heliosynth, right?
You know what? I'm conflicted because I love Heliosynth. And that's why I just said before. It's so hard for me to like. And I established that from the beginning when I first started playing, and I just left it. Even though Heliosynth, man, I love all the stuff in Heliosynth. It's so cool. I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll give you guys any final comments about Rommel and his post where he shared a little bit about what's coming for Call of the Stones.
I'm really excited about Call of the Stones, and honestly, with some of what Rommel's saying is kind of circling back to what we started this video with, talking about the unloading of collections and stuff. And to bring this full circle before we move on, I kind of want to get everyone's opinions really quick, but we've all seen a little bit of a taste of what's coming, and we can't talk about that until they tell us we can talk about it. But I think what we've seen is compelling enough that I would like to know if you agree with me or disagree with me that people that are selling off their collections now, they're making a big mistake. Do we get who's a thumbs up with me on that, and who's a thumbs down with me on that?
On a scale of thumbs up to thumbs down.
Texan?
No, if someone wants to sell off their stuff, I mean, why am I going to say that's a mistake, right?
No, I'm just saying, I think...
Why am I going to say, like, oh, no, you're going to regret it. No, don't you leave. You'll be
because
back.
Because they are going to regret it.
You don't think they'll regret it, though?
They might wish they didn't have to, but I mean, again, if someone doesn't want to be here, why would they want to be here later? Right?
That's
Everything that they feel right
saying,
now,
like,
they're going to feel in July, August next year.
I gave the thumbs up in the sense of I expect the value of cards to go up. So if you sell now, even if you don't care about the game, if you waited until February, you could sell for more.
That's what I'm
not
saying.
In the sense of I think if people want to be out of the game, they're fair to be out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on what they want to sell for. But again, I mean, I had some inheritance stock that I had to sell, and someone was like, oh, this could be another $2,000 in 10 years. I was like, yeah, but I need a house now. I mean,
yeah, but
I'm like, hey, I'm glad I have this house. I'm sorry I missed out on that issue, but I mean, to say
like
that anyone trying to get out now is a mistake, I don't know. That just doesn't sound right to me.
I just kind of feel like it's selling off your Apple stocks right before they release the first iPhone. That's that's my opinion. And some people, if they need to get out, they still need to do it, and it's the right decision for them regardless of that. But that's what I immediately think of.
Yeah, to me it rings like when Slappy was like, hey, American Texan, you gonna get into boba? And I'm like, no. He's like, you don't know what you're missing. It's a lot of fun. I know. No thanks. Like, I know I'm missing a lot, but I got my priorities, my mental bandwidth somewhere else. So I'm just not the kind of person that's going to be like, hey, are you sure you're going to regret it? You'll be back.
See, AT, the difference is I bought some boba, and I'm not really that into it. It's okay. But again, the Griffey stuff coming out, I'm like, I'm keeping this stuff because that Griffey stuff's going to be awesome. Even though I'm not super into it, the next stuff's going to make this stuff even better. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's me.
That'd be cool.
Well, that's a good segue into talking about the original topic, which is talking about the different SKUs, which is a little bit of a bookkeeping term. It's stock keeping unit. But what it means is it means the product you buy of Wonders, right? It's like what do you get? How much does it cost? Is that how many of those offerings does Wonders offer? And of course, they did something for the existence set. They'll do something for the Call of the Stones. And when we're talking about, Capricorn was just saying how many people are going to, wish that they had held on. Of course, the game of Wonders does not succeed unless it grows. So then it becomes what's the best pathway? What's the best type of product SKU to get Wonders to grow? Can we all agree that one of the reasons why Wonders, you cannot play it all across the country in LGSs is because there has been not enough product getting into players' hands so that it can form an organic or even forced player atmosphere where there's God, why am I blanking on when you read critical mass? We haven't reached critical mass in LGS territories. So what did they do wrong? Let's start off there. What did they do wrong with existence in terms of packaging? And just real quick, let's leave the Kickstarter out because there's so many components to that. We'll accept the existence booster box because there's a lot of those and people do look at those a lot. But for the player, you have the existence play booster bundle, which was $29.99. Wonders had a small amount. And then you had the 2-player starter set, the $29.95. They were constructed a little bit different. So that's really what was sent out for the people. And then it was dispersed through Target and a very limited amount on the website. So tell me, Capricorn, what did they do wrong?
That's such a difficult question to even attempt to
Rich,
tackle.
if you want to keep thinking, I've got an answer.
Like, why don't you let Grace field this?
Go ahead, Grace.
I'm not saying anything that the Wonders team hasn't said themselves, and this may be straying a little bit into the Kickstarter territory, but play boosters and collector boosters releasing, like, all the product not releasing at the same time is a huge part of the issue, and we know that they have planned to address that, but I think part of the big issue of the supply and demand right now was everything not releasing at once, because collectors got stuff, but players couldn't get stuff at a reasonable price. And now there's collectors who have the fatigue of there's nothing fun for them to open because they've already opened everything. So they're trying to open play boosters, and then they're upset because they're opening play boosters and they're not pulling formless foils and OCMs. And they're like, well, this is boring. I don't like it. And so people are buying a product that's not meant for them, and it's making them upset. Sorry, a little mini rant there.
Yeah, that was great. It's Ben, is that all you see for existence? Was the timing?
I think I've said this before, and it's the same thing. Supply is one of the most difficult things to do right with CCGs, and we've seen it throughout history. We've seen it throughout history when there's too much and people aren't buying it, and the prices go down, and distributors are trying to get stuff off their books, and they'll sell it for whatever, and people see the prices dropping and they lose interest and they leave the game. And so people complain and say there's too much product. It needs to be collectible. It's a collectible card game. So then they make it collectible. They reduce the print run. And we saw this with Magic collector boxes. And then people freaked out that you couldn't get collector boxes, but they wanted to make them collectible. But now there's not enough of them. And so in my mind, I agree with Grace. I wish they could have released everything at once. That would have been way better. Everything could have been released at once. But however, I think it's better long-term for the game to lean towards the lean side than the heavy side. Keep people thirsting for it. Keep people wanting more.
There's a reason they picked CCG and not TCG when both were an option.
That's interesting, Grace. Yeah, to your point. All right, American Texan. No complaints about their.
I got a ton. I'm just waiting for everyone to get everything out so I don't get interrupted. But first of all, I reject your question. We have to bring Kickstarter into this. The whole thing started on Kickstarter. Okay, that was the introduction to it. Now, here's the problem that we have, and here's how I see it. Everyone got in, not everyone, but many people got into the game on the Kickstarter. Okay, it did $1 million in a day twice, right? And we all got product. It was great. It was awesome. We wanted to go out and tell our friends. This was like March, April. And essentially there was nothing else for them to get. There was no 2-player starters. There was no play packs or anything. There was just what was available on the secondary market at that time. Now, what that is like we all went to this restaurant and we said, whoa, this was the most amazing food. Everyone come to this place and eat some food. Two things that these people are experiencing. Number one, they can't get in because there's no reservations, right? That's the people that want to buy into the game, but there's nothing available. Or two, they want to get in, but all of a sudden the meal that we paid $50 for is now $100. And we paid $50 for it. And it was like, that was a delicious meal. And they're like, I'm not sure it's worth $100. Those are the people that were telling about the game, and they look online and packs are going for $30 a piece when we paid barely 10, right? So, I mean, I'm about 15, I guess. So that was the major hiccup. And I'm not even saying it's a hiccup because they specifically did it that way. We all live in the future. We all know that what might have been, woulda, coulda, shoulda, who'da, did it, but didn't. So, I mean, that was a huge thing. Number two, we rolled out 2-player collector packs, which again, I see the argument for putting collector packs inside of the 2-player starter sets. I see the idea and the reason for putting the collector packs inside of the 2-player starter sets. However, who ended up buying those 2-player starter sets? Collectors, because they wanted the collector boosters. Why? Because there was no other collector boosters that you could get for $15 a pack because they're all overselling on the market. Then the play boosters come out finally, but now we're all trying to build our own decks, and we're all like already starved for product, and so now we're buying up the play packs because we get enough paper from our collector bundles, and so now we're buying up all those products, and it's real tough to get product right now. And look, it's the future. We have no idea what print runs are supposed to be. We have no idea how this was going to get, how big this was going to get, how quickly this was going to get. And the great thing that I always tell people to keep focused on is it's a 2-year print window. We're going to be cracking existence into 2027. Okay, so I don't think we're gonna. That's not a hard hard and fast thing. It could be the end of 2026, but we know 18 to 24 months is about the print window. So we got plenty of time to get our existence play boosters and foils if you want. Now the first edition stuff, that's gone, that's done with. It is what it is, right? So all that said, I think it's hard to have this conversation without bringing Kickstarter, because the game started on Kickstarter. And for us to come in now, now we've got Call of the Stones coming out. I think a huge correction that Frenchie announced in the Discord is everything's going to be launching at once. So when you go to the store, whatever store that might be, your LGS, or hopefully they can get them in Target, you'll have the collector bundles and the play bundles together, or collector boosters and play boosters together, and you can actually make the decision on what you want. Now, for me, a collector booster box at Target is a pretty high cart value for a Target purchase, even for a Target purchase, right? If we're looking at, I don't know, what were they on Kickstarter? Like $175, which that was Kickstarter price. That's basically friends and family price. I wouldn't be surprised if collector booster bundles were $250, $300 at Target.
And I will say,
LGS.
I had a lot of people comment on my videos that, great that you think this game's so awesome, but yet, like American Texan said, you can't get it. It's only on eBay for $300-$400 a box, and a game I've never played before. I'm not going to pay that much for it. So he does have a good point that a lot of people have complained about that. How do I get this stuff? And I just kept telling them, there's going to be more. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, we just live in an Amazon culture where we expect it now, and a lot of people I think are new to collecting and have to realize that that's not how this works. Collections are rare. Now the paper stuff, that's the frustrating part, because that stuff shouldn't be rare. The rarity of the cards is what's rare within the play bundles, but you should be able to go out and buy a play bundle. The collect and plays, they should have a longer shelf life, but I expect 6 months you shouldn't be able to get collect and play or collector booster boxes, which, by the way, I wish they had kept the name collect and play, because that's exactly what it is. It's collect and play. You get play cards and collect cards, but they changed it to collector booster box.
Grace, I think you had when American Texan Plays was talking about, we got the packs, the restaurant, and we got the packs for $15, and now they're selling for $30. The $50 meal is $100. You something went off. Do you remember what you were going to say?
I mean, I've always found it really frustrating as somebody who was trying to get people into the game at the time, that people were just buying the 2-player starter kits for the collector packs. Like, I think that made it really hard for anybody who's trying to get anybody else into the game to get them into the game. And I think from a personal point of view, I wish that there hadn't been collector packs in them, just because of how it affected the ability for the game to get out. I think
nobody would have bought them. I think nobody would have bought them that way.
I think I remember reading this somewhere, that there's a lot of debate on, and they're looking at maybe not doing 2-player starter kits again for a little while because there was trouble selling them. I don't know if I'm making that up or if I'm misremembering a Discord read or something, but like, there was concern that 2-player starter kits wouldn't sell. And I think that I think that was the solution to get them to sell, but it just makes me wonder, is there even a way to make 2-player starter kits sell as they're supposed to, as the here's the introductory thing to get you into the game? I don't know. That's my thing. If there's not a 2-player starter kits, what's your introductory, here's your deck, let's play SKU? Because it's not play boosters, because building a deck requires somebody to sit down and teach you how to build a deck, and then so on and so forth. I don't know what the answer is, but it makes me think when I think about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a two-edged sword, right? Because this is a collect and play game. So it makes total sense on paper to have your starter set come with the play decks and come with collector packs. 100%. It makes sense. I think you do need to have a starter set, much like Pokemon has a starter set, because there's a play mat, there are stones, there is equipment you need for the game. Now, you don't need it, just like you don't need a Pokemon play mat. But when you buy a starter set, it does come with that. It's not like Magic where you can just buy 2 decks, the what do they call them, the dual decks, and you can just play with those, right? There is a little bit of a startup process there. And Pokemon starter sets, they have no problem. They don't need to sell with collector packs because it's just the fact that you're ripping up packs and seeing what new cards are available. Do I get a card that I can slip into my deck here and make that modification, right? And it also comes with the first, which gives you another modification as well. There's a little bit of
But it's different with a
thing
new
in
game,
there.
though.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
and it is
It's a brand
different
new
with a
game.
new game. But again, I think in hindsight, again, it was just the collectors buying the starter sets. So the game doesn't get out there. Now, is the answer, well, do we not print as many, or do we not make them available, or do we do it a different way? I don't know. That's why they don't pay me any bucks, right? And Frenchie makes the big bucks, okay? Because that's their decision to make. But when I saw a bunch of collectors just buying up those 2 starter sets and then coping by saying, oh, well, we're going to give away the decks. Well, I mean, you give it away. How valuable is it? You say this game is great, but you're giving me a deck. Like that doesn't make sense. Or someone wants to see the game and they're like, oh, well, let me buy the deck on eBay for $5. They get the deck, but now they don't know how to play. They don't have the stones. They don't have the mat, everything. Like it just totally ruins the experience. You got to have the 2-player starter set, but I'm not sure collector packs was the right way to go.
Hey, Ben, let me ask you a question, which is, and I'm putting up the 2-player starter. You can see what was included in there as well, all the details there. But Ben, let me ask you a question, which is, this game should be, and I guess it goes back to your favorite orbital. It can be for collecting, it can be for playing. So it's a little bit subjective, but what percentage should this game be collectors and what percentage should it be players? Playability versus collectability. Should it be 50-50? Should it be 70-30? What should, first of all, don't tell me what it is right now. What should it be, Ben?
I think it should be 50-50. Totally. I mean, I think I think this is my opinion, but I think they have made a game that amazingly fun game to play. And if you're only a collector and you haven't played this game, you are missing half of the experience. It's an amazingly fun game to play. It's fun to collect too. I've always been a little more of a player, but this game sucked me more into the collector side.
Grace, but wait, just Loco saying that it's
Yep.
Is that what you go ahead, Grace?
I was gonna say, I was saying it should be 100% and 100%,
Oh,
which is,
100% both.
I think that's what Ben was getting at. Where like everybody should be a collector and a player in this game because, like, I think if you play, I think any collector that plays Wonders that I've met, like I've met some of the whales, and as soon as they play the game, they like it, and like the people love the game. But here's the other thing. Players love to collect. I have yet to meet someone who plays a collectible or a trading card game for long enough that doesn't start to collect something. Like, even when I was playing Magic, I didn't look for anything specific, but I, like, every mythic I pulled out went in my binder, and I was like, look at what I've got. I'll trade you. I pulled this the first time I pulled a card that was worth over $20, I like ran and told my parents. I was like, look. I'm so happy. Like after a certain point, opening packs turns you into a collector on some scale, and opening packs also, if you're a collector, turns you into a player.
The question is, we know Capricorn's a player for sure. Is he a collector?
I become more of a collector by the day.
See the right answer.
Dragon
Come
Cup
on.
definitely helped.
What helped?
But the Dragon Cup definitely helped when they announced that. But even before the Dragon Cup, I don't know. There's something in me that's like, when I have this deck that I'm really proud of, that I spent a lot of time min-maxing and getting perfect, and now I'm like, oh, but like now I got the foily mouse, and I got this, and I got this altar. Like, I start upgrading the cards within the deck because I'm like, I want to throw down in Vegas and get some oohs and some ahs. Like, not only did I win with Blazafell, but I won with a formless Blaz. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's just something special about having pride in the player aspect and then being able to use the collectible side of the game to kind of show that pride off. So the more I play the game and the more invested I get in the play, the more the allure of the collecting side of it starts to grab me. If I wasn't interested in playing the game at all, I would not be interested in collecting it at all. That's not my lane. But the more I fall in love with this game, the more I love playing it, the more I want all of these special versions, because I want to be the guy that's like, yeah, I didn't just beat you with this card. I beat you with the ooh-ah version of this card.
See, it sucks you in. I'm telling you.
It does.
If you're
It
one,
does.
it sucks you to the other side.
It does.
Well,
Um,
so American Texan, all right. So everybody's saying you guys are having another love fest, 100%, 100%. But American Texan is that we live in the real world, and we can't just be like, all right, Wonders team, we're making a decision. I know. Here's the solution. It serves both collectors and players equally. Yes. That's not what's happening. So again, you had a print run you had to do. Guess what the Wonders team said? It's going to collectors. We're gonna hit those. They could have run the players first. They decided on collectors first. So that's what they and maybe in order for players to be successful, they needed to go with collectors first. It wasn't a bias. Maybe that's what they have a grand plan and that's why they did it. So tell me this, Texan. What do you want to see with Call of the Stones? What was not a product SKU for existence that you want to see, and tell us if it's you as a player or you as a collector? And are there two different products you want to see, one as a collector and one as a player? Is it the same or is it different?
Yeah, I think collect and play, the collector booster boxes were perfect for me because I'm a player, but I also want to collect a few things. And so when I rip packs, I know I'm probably not going to hit the firearms that I want in Call of the Stones, but at least I'll get trade bait to try to get some stuff, try to trade for those things. So I like that a majority of the cards that I'm going to rip inside a collector booster box is going to be paper that I can then play with while still getting some shiny stuff and some fun stuff to collect and trade for the people that are opening the dragon boxes and getting the cards that I want in other collector booster boxes. I think the SKUs right now, actually, I don't have any complaints with. I love the fact that I can go to Target, right, and get a weird look from my wife. Like, no, don't worry, honey. I'll go to Target and get this for us. And then while I'm there, I can grab a $30 play bundle, put it in my cart, and it's not adding that much, right? Because who spends less than $100 when you go to Target, right? You put another 30 on top of that. Who's going to care? Who's going to notice, right? It doesn't matter. I say that jokingly, but like, I think that's perfect. The only thing I think that's missing is number one, a play box that has 30 packs. Because one of my favorite memories from playing Magic is when me and my friends pulled together $80 and we went to the LGS and we bought our own box and we did our own draft at our friend's house. That was a night fueled by Mountain Dew and hot Cheetos. And like, that was a lot of fun. And so I remember that. So I'm thinking, you could go out and buy different sealed packs, but there's just something about buying a play booster box. And the other thing too, and I'm thinking more for younger kids, which may not be who Wonders is targeting, is, just blister packs, just the ability to go and buy one. Granted, it's probably going to be $6 or $7, but just to grab one pack, maybe it's a lower cart value in Target. I'm just grabbing a few things and it's only $30. So I'm not going to throw another 30 on top of that, but I can grab one pack and put it on top of it. That's not a big deal. Or, maybe a young kid wants to, and again, I am not going to rip with the age of my kids. I'm not going to rip a collector booster box with them, but I would love to rip play boxes with them or play bundles. Sure. Or, if my daughter's like, hey, I want to buy a pack, but I only got $10. I was like, all right, well, let's go buy a pack. Cause I'm certainly not going to let her buy a pack on Whatnot.
But if I heard you, White Slappy, I think you asked what it should be, not what it is. I think was your question.
Yeah.
Because
And so
I have to say what I think it is I think they pushed it more towards the collectors. I think they pushed more to collectors. And I think that's why you see people kind of jumping in and out, because they haven't played the game and they haven't fallen in love with the game. There's a lot of collectors jumping in, and this might be a whole other can of worms, is the dragon boxes, getting access to those. A whole bunch of drama behind those.
Let's get to those in a second, but I think Grace had, and we'll come back to you, Ben, but Grace, you had a comment about American Texan, something he was saying.
It kind of falls in response to what Ben just said as well. I think it is worth recognizing that I think the reason that a lot of the inclination it was towards collectors is who backed the Kickstarter? How did most people find out about the Kickstarter? Well, they were already involved in Bojacks, or they were already involved in block packs, or they were, they were already involved with the company, like already involved with Frenchie in some way.
A lot of people.
The Kickstarter is a different story because I got in on the Kickstarter from a Facebook ad.
Me too.
I've talked to several other people.
But I agree with Grace. I think there was a lot of people that jumped in from Boba.
Yeah. and other like and the other things that Frenchie has done. I think we saw a lot of collectors come in, and a big portion of that was people who have done boba or have done other stuff with Frenchie who are collectors. They'd probably, I taught somebody to play at the Shattering who had never played the game before, came in because was involved with Bojack, like that sort of stuff. And I think they went towards collectors because at the time that's who they knew they had caught. And I think now that they know that they have this wider audience, that it's gonna be, for lack of a better way to put it, easier for them to rationalize better balancing the SKUs. That's my hot take.
I think Grace makes a really good point, and I think hindsight is 2020. It's really easy to look back now and say like, oh, like the game is really good, it turns out, and everybody wants to play it, and the people that want to play it are now trying to figure out where they can get their hands on product, but you don't know if it's going to go that way in the beginning. So it kind of makes sense that there were growing pains. You had to feel out like how much is the right amount of product, and you know, to Grace's point, knowing that you have much more of a chance of succeeding with a certain part of the consumer base rather than, you know, with collectors in this case, rather than the players, just because you have such a history built up and a reputation built up for that sort of product. It makes sense that you lean more into that. And now I think they're realizing just how good the game really is and what the potential of the game is. And that's why this discussion's even taking place. If the game was awful, none of us would care, and none of us would be having this discussion. And I think as far as problems go, I think it's the best problem for them to have. I think you'd rather have it be awesome and people not be able to get the product and want it than the opposite problem where it's just not good enough and you have all these play boosters that no one's going to buy. So I also think it's very much a temporary issue. I'm really excited about COTS, and I think Call of the Stones is in a lot of ways going to feel like a soft relaunch of the game where they learned a lot over this past year. And you know, there's a lot of talk going in Discord right now about all of this stuff, and they're listening. And like, I want to say things that I can't say in the Discord, and but a lot of what people are complaining about, it's already solved and they just don't know it yet. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Well, Ben, we'll go to the Dragon Boxes. One thing just to add on to what Capricorn was saying is we should stress, of course, Wonders of the First is not a corporate game. It's not Lorcana. It's not, you know, hey, we're going to just spend 50 million on this, and if it fails, we'll write it off in the next quarter. This was clearly a 7-figure investment. So this was the reason why they don't have everything like, oh, it's a success. Sure, let's just release that warehouse full of product, is because that would have been millions upon millions more. So they, to your point, Cap, yeah, they had to see like, is the game going to be received like we thought it was? They did their public game tests and it looked great, but of course on a grander scale. So we have to give them, you know, we have to give them grace for this early part so they can get into the rhythm. Now, we shouldn't give them grace in 3 years, right? Now they know what they have. They should not have the issues with the delivery, the schedule, and getting it into the hands of players 3 years from now. But right now, absolutely, is you can't expect them to spend millions on an unproven thought. But Ben, is that you want to talk about, I think we always are going to call them Dragon boxes, but technically they're advantage boxes. Is that are you guys going to call them Dragon boxes even with Call of the Stones?
SA sounds weird. SA boxes, be like, wait, what's that? You know,
SA has a completely different connotation than
serialized advantage boxes. Just doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, it doesn't. Dragon sounds way cooler.
And they're leaning into it, so let's lean into it.
And there's a dragon on the Call of the Stones box.
Right. And I realize we're kind of running short on time here. So, I mean, this could be like, we could talk about this for hours, but, you know, a lot of people comment on the Discord and say, hey, you know, when these Dragon boxes get released, people better not charge tons of money for them, you know, $1,000 or $1,200 or $1,500 or whatever. And then other people are saying, like, hey, people charge whatever they want for them because and then people talk about they didn't have a chance to get them. So I will just say, again, we could talk about this for hours. I'll try to be brief. Is I initially, when I first heard about the Dragon boxes, was very frustrated and thought, wait a second, what are these boxes that are an NFT that you can claim for? What is this? Like, I didn't know about crypto, about NFTs. I knew about none of that stuff. And I sat down on my couch and pouted and say, this isn't fair that they get all these boxes full of all this awesome stuff. And after a couple of days, I thought, maybe I should just figure out how to get one. And so I had to dive into the world of like crypto and NFT and like, and so now they've kind of gone away from that a little bit, but you still need the miles. And so people's like, well, what about the miles? How am I going to get that? You can get the miles. You can go get those if you want to pay someone to transfer miles to you.
And
that's
what Ben is talking about is Ben's talking about the Wonders has a internal kind of reward miles that you can use to buy them. Sorry, Ben, go ahead. I just want to let
right. And so I guess that crypto stuff's kind of in the past a little bit, so I don't want to focus on that too much, but everybody could have got a COTS Dragon box. Anybody could have got one. What you had to do was, and I think most people probably have a BlockPacks account that play Wonders, probably almost everybody. If you don't, it's super easy to sign up, and you just say, hey, does anybody have some miles they can sell me? You buy the miles and you buy the COTS box. And that's just how it goes. And you could have bought them anywhere from, I think like $300 to as much as $500. They were kind of expensive towards the end, but you could have got one if you wanted to get one. But a lot of people complain that it's not fair. I can't get one. Hey, instead of complaining, just figure out how you're going to get one.
My first 16 COTS serialized Advantage Dragon boxes, I averaged at the current BPX rate $168. That's how much I paid for my first 16. So I'm sitting on 30.
You
I love
mean the
them.
original?
No, the Call of the Stones Dragon boxes.
Oh, the current ones. 168. Yep. Wow.
Yep. The one thing I've learned about this community is the price always goes up. People always FOMO. So whenever there's an auction and they're going to do it, this is a tip for the community. If it's going to be multiple weeks, as the Call of the Stones was, they said, we're going to auction some this week, then some next week, and we're going to do it for a couple months. The first week is that I just kept buying them as the price kept dropping until they finally ran out. And so that first week that's when I loaded up. So it's the one thing to say about Frenchie is that you should say, he never disappoints. And the one thing is nothing stays the same. Like his product is not stagnant. So the one thing we should say is like, whatever existence was, you should expect new things from the collector side. Of course, from the game, there's going to be new rules, but from the collectability side, what people should be doing is they should be thinking, how is the collectability going to change? And just for the record, I tell people all the time is like, whenever there's an event, I think I said this last time we met, always go to the event, And just as an example, and I don't want to keep talking about Boba, but again, it's the same creator, founder, Jeff French, is that for those who participated in the elite tournament for Bo Battle Arena, they were all gifted with what's called a Blast Bo Battle Arena box. There were only 750 created. Right now, there's an outstanding offer of $4,000 for that. And some say the value is $5,000. But if you paid the $50 fee to enter the tournament, it didn't fill up. Like you could have joined for $50. Yeah. Not only did you get all that stuff at National, you got a $4,000 box that you could just turn around and sell. So that's one thing to keep in mind with the Dragon Cup and people on the fence. Again, I can't stress enough. It's not financial advice. Someday Jeff is going to let us down, but it's so far he hasn't. Grace. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think what I was thinking, I got a little distracted when you talked about Boba because,
come on, stop talking about Boba, Slappy.
But there's like,
I don't mean to distract you, Grace.
Sorry, I've got a little bit of a headache, so I'm more distractible than normal. I think that I think it's a brilliant marketing move on Frenchie's part to have had the serialized Advantage, the Dragon boxes be in the BlockPacks market, because when you're in there, you see Home Team Heroes, which is the online version of Bojax. You see all these other things that they're doing, and you're like, if you're at all curious or you poke around at all, you at least know how to get in. And so from the standpoint of looking at it from like a professional marketing mindset, it's really smart because it forces you to dip your toe in to get the Dragon box, and then you might as well look around while you're there. It's like, free cookies if you come into the bakery. Cool. What else are you going to buy while you're there?
And that's why they'll always be there.
Yeah, but no, guys, should there be the dragon boxes are for collectors? There's nothing for the players. Like the players will never spend right now. The existence dragon boxes, people try to sell them for 1,200. The price is 1,000. It's 950 to 1,000. That is the price. And players are not paying that. They're not. The reason why it hit 1,200 and came back down, because the players said, I don't want to do it. And to your point that you've all stressed is the collectors, they're kind of right now, it's in the trough because they just don't see what's going on. And so there's not as much collectability pressure. That's why you saw dragons. They're not there. But I don't, am I ever going to see players paying $1,000 for a dragon box? I don't see that in the future. Do you guys?
Nope.
So,
Nope.
so should they make it should they change it at all for the players, or should they just keep, this is a collector thing, just purely collectability?
I think just by the nature of it, you're always going to have players that want to have their cake and eat it too, and it's just like, it's not reasonable for them to expect to get their hands on this stuff. But at the same time, it's like, it's there and I want it. I don't want to spend more than I have to spend for, the playable stuff, but I still want the good stuff. And that's just, it's kind of human nature, but it's not realistic. And it shouldn't be, they shouldn't build the product line with that in mind, for sure. I think, having the premium products specifically for a premium investment from collectors just makes sense, and that's what it needs to be. And you're never gonna 100% get rid of players that are like, but I kind of want some too. It's just gonna be there. But I think they're going about it for the most part the right way.
Well, in my mind, it's there's 3 SKUs. Ignoring 2-player starter kits because I think of them differently, and they're not just packs to open. Of the packs to open, there are 3 SKUs. There's dragon boxes. There's collector boosters and there's play boosters. Dragon boxes are for hardcore collectors who have very deep pockets and can spend a bunch of money and are there to collect. Play boosters are for people who are just here to play, and collector boosters are for your dolphins. I think that's the term American Texan was using. Like, you play, the collector boosters are there as the balance in the middle, and I think it fits the vision of what they want to do of balancing collectability and playability.
The problem is the Dragon Cup just threw a wrench into all of that because it was, you don't need a Dragon box if you're a player. Well, if you want to play at the highest level, you do.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I would be hard pressed to see any player that defines themselves as a player go into the Dragon Cup by themselves with, 25 OCMs. I don't even know if I've even had 25 OCMs on hand, because as even a player collector, I'm not collecting OCMs, so I always just offload them or use it for trades. You're talking about a 25 OCMs, 25 formless foils, 55 cheeseburgers, 55 tacos. You're talking about a player having that much. They're a collector. Now, the player-only guys that are going to the Dragon Cup, they're teaming up with collectors, right? So, and the collectors that are playing, even they'll tell you, I'm talking to one right now. We're coaching through how to play the game, and I might have another one next week. And so it's like, they're collectors first, but now they're learning to play because of the Dragon Cup. The Dragon Cup, what it really threw a screw in is what people are collecting. Because now it's not so much, well, I just want to have one of everything, or I want to have all the Umberthenes, or I want to have all the dragons. Now it's collectors that are looking to find actual playable cards that weren't on their radar, or a second card that they already had, didn't plan on having a second one. That's the real wrench that's getting thrown in there, because now some cards are harder to find, some cards haven't moved at all, and some cards are being searched for just because they can be played now in the Dragon Cup.
Ben, I have to call you out, which is, isn't it amazing the way the Wonders team can shape your perspective? It's that reality doesn't change, but your perspective does. Ben sitting here saying, I'm a player. I have to get the Dragon boxes for the Dragon Cup. Ben, Stoneseeker World Cup 2025. There is a tournament where you don't have to have those Dragon boxes for the players.
But it's not as fun.
We're talking about a $25,000 tournament. and it's like not even mentioned. But isn't that crazy? Like that's what
crazy.
if you're a player, you want to be in the Dragon Cup, which is that's a different thing we'll have to talk about. Oh, and by the way, Rommel just said Stoneseeker Cup is going to be where some of the best players battle for the title. All right, guys, it's to Ben's point. I don't want to keep you guys. We're broadcasting live on a Sunday night. I know some folks are East Coast, but I do want to get some a couple final thoughts from you guys. What is the one thing you have to buy from Call of the Stones? What SKU? And it can be something from existence. It can be something made up in your mind. But what is the one, like, if there's one product you would buy? And then I also want you to be honest, how much product are you going to, like, what different SKUs would you buy? So in other words, say like, I have to have a Dragon box, but I also want to get I want to get a collector bundle and a player bundle, which is, I know that's what Grace is going to say, but Grace.
I was going to say, Slappy, are we talking with our imaginary money wallet?
Imagine.
Or are we talking with our real life money?
No,
so
real life.
hard. It's
Real
so
life.
hard.
Real life. Because if it was imaginary, Grace, you'd buy everything. Like, would you, if you had Elon Musk money, would you really not buy everything in sight?
Yeah. I mean, when that comes out, I'll be a recent college grad, hopefully with a job. So yeah, I'll probably be getting like a collector booster box and one, maybe two, like, I'm assuming it would make sense for them to do boxes for boosters. I'm hoping that they do. Like the 30 card pass, I'd get 1 to 2 of those maybe over the course of time or at the beginning, depending on how good that discount is for the early buyers.
And is anything staying sealed?
Oh, I still have sealed stuff from the Kickstarter. Like
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? What's the one product you have to have from Call of the Stone, and what else are you going to buy after that?
So I've already got it mapped out. I talked about in my video yesterday. You got to know your budget. You got to know what your means are. Here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to save up. So when the pre-release launches, I'm going to buy a case of collector booster boxes. I think that's 6, right? When I came into Kickstarter, I bought the flare package, which was basically half a case. I want a full case this time. That's the only collector booster boxes I'm getting. I'll continue to buy single packs and play games on whatnot. And then after that, it's just play packs and bundles and boxes, whatever they come out with.
Okay, so you'll still be buying, but what will stay sealed for you? Anything?
Nothing. I love Christmas. I'm opening my presents.
Yeah. Rommel's in agreement with you. He believes the same thing. All right, Ben, what about you?
So my amount that I'm going to buy keeps going up and down and up and down. And I will say this. There's things about Call of the Stones that I don't like. And I think that it's going to push some people away from the game. However, I think it's going to bring a lot of people into the game. But with that said, I'm going to buy as much as I can. Even though there's things about it that I don't like, and it's going to be collector boosters, I'm going to get as much collector boosters as I can. Again, even despite the fact that there's things about the set.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna get as much as I can. So if it turns out,
you want me to put a number on that?
Yeah, no. If your allotment, they say you can buy $10,000 worth, you're buying $10,000 worth.
That's a lot.
Okay,
that's a lot.
You didn't hesitate. And how much of that is going to stay sealed?
Man, I can't go to open this can of worms either. But it has ruined me. I can't say how much, but I had a lot of cases sealed.
Ben,
until the stupid Dragon Cup.
You got to think of 2026 Dragon Cup, Ben.
You can't see it.
Do it for the children.
Right now, I have stacks of cards in front of me. I'm still trying to sort. And you know what? The trick-or-treaters that are coming to my house are going to get something special. Instead of candy, they're going to get these repackaged commons and uncommons, just because I have so many of these.
That is awesome.
I have a huge box down here of those packs, and I'm going to hand out.
Can I steal that?
Because I had to open so many boxes looking for those stupid OCMs, but I still have some sealed, and I'm not opening those.
Wait.
So yes, you mean glorious?
Ben, how many did you open since the Dragon Cup announcement? How many boxes?
Is this confession time?
Yeah.
I ripped 2 cases of collector bundles. I ripped 5 cases of collector boosters, and I still have some sealed. So that just gives you a little insight into how bonkers I went with this game.
Where do you work, and are they hiring?
Oh man, so I went kind of crazy, and so when I can't remember the website, but there was a website that offered the collector.
It's called gamblingaddiction.com. And
No, I'm telling you guys, I have no regrets, and I've even said before on my channel that if the game were to tank and go out of business, I have no regrets. I like the game that much, and that's not. I'm not getting paid to say that. I like the game that much that if it went out of business, I would have all these boxes gathered around me and I'd have fun for years to come.
that's awesome. All right, Capricorn, is that what is the one product in Call of the
This
Stone?
is the hardest question to answer because everything I want to buy is something that hasn't been announced yet. And the team really needs to just hurry up and announce this set and the SKUs. Not just the
You could have just said, "Here's my imaginary what I'd like to have," and people would think you're just.
He would have been too specific.
I gotta. That's flying loose.
Okay, so then you have to come up with something that they haven't come up with that you'd like to see. There's got to be. Come on, you think about this game so much, Capricorn. There's got to be something you're like, I'd like it changed.
I will say this. I really like the idea of something that is budget like a play booster and built for the player, but has that like 1 in a very small chance of hitting something really special. I like the idea of people going out to the LGS every week to play sealed because it's the cheapest way to invest in the game and slowly building their collection every week. And I have a lot of players that want to do that. But every now and then, you know, you're opening your sealed product to make your sealed deck, and all of a sudden you hear at the other end of the table, holy, and someone just starts going nuts because they hit something crazy. And you know, for a player that's budget, that could be that special moment that converts them into a collector. Like, oh, they happen to hit an OCM that's like 1 in 37 cases in whatever this product is. And I'm not saying you should put serialized cards in play boosters. That's the last thing I'm saying.
But they got to jazz them up. They got to jazz up the play boosters a little bit.
Wait, so are you guys both agreeing with Captain Sexy that he wants to see the alt art? No. He wants a 1 of 1. He wants a 1 of 1, and
I think what he wants is too far. what I would want, I would like to see something like having a formless foil appear at the same rarity in a play booster as what OCMs appear in for collector boosters.
You got to give them something in the play booster.
And then the collector boosters, because you're pulling so many formless foils out of collector boosters, like how rare it is in that cheaper booster just makes it feel that much crazy. Like, oh, I got all of these, and they have to go through all of that just to get one.
Which is why the dragon boxes are on steroids,
right?
Because it's all formless. Texan, what were you saying?
I was saying I would like to see, for the play boosters, I would like to see parallels, like trading cards. You have, you know, a Spider-Man base, then you got a Spider-Man with the red background, holographic background, Spider-Man with the holographic green background. I would like to see different parallels, almost like you can then chase the color matching of, like, say, the purple parallel foil for the prisoner or for your Umber theme that you want. So that way you're still not ripping first edition formless foils in the play packs. Those stay in the collector product, but there are different things that you can try to chase and collect, and you can still have a nice collection without just saying, here's my paper, here's my foil, here's my paper, here's my foil. It can be like, here's my orange foil, purple foil, I'm still looking for that green foil, and it's out there and you can still hit it. Maybe the foils are printed in different rarities, but they're not serialized. I think that would be a fun way to make the play booster still collectible. And to some people, no matter the color of the foil, it's going to be the same thing. But some people are going to want to chase those color matching foils. Now, granted, they're not going to be OCMs because they're not going to be serialized, but they'll still have that feeling of the chase and that excitement if you rip a purple foil prisoner. You know, that's still worth something. That's still something to chase. and it doesn't have to mess with the whole first edition.
And
printing
would these
or
parallels-
formless foils and play packs?
Would the parallels only be available in the play boosters, or would they be available
I
everywhere?
would like to see that. That's how Marvel cards do it. They have what's called retail bundles, and those are the only ones you can get blue parallels in.
See, I don't
if
like
you
that.
get hobby
I don't know.
boxes, you can get green, orange, and everything else. But if you want to get the blues, you got to get the retail packs.
That's what drives me nuts about boba. That's why I just that's the biggest thing I just can't stand about it. It's how like, you know, the one box has one thing in it, the other box has something else in it, and I'm like, how do I know what box to get what thing? And I don't like that.
Well, and the concern that I have, if there's something unique to play boosters, like these alt arts, is that it makes the collectors want to buy play boosters.
The collectors go crazy. Yep, those darn collectors, they're evil.
Yeah, and I agree with Jay in the chat. I mean, I don't think the play packs need anything. This is me just dreaming. And yeah, I agree. The parallel foils, I mean, that could be something that collectors are like, oh my gosh, I need to have it. But like, I think it was Capricorn said, like, you have these at such low numbers. It is a bad investment for a collector to just buy junk 37 times to hit one card that might be the color he wants or she wants. So I mean
there's
I
sort
think
of
you can play with
What
that.
are you
that
talking
rarity.
about? What are you talking about, man? It's bad to buy for one card. What are you saying?
If you're a collector and you just want the foil card, it's very hard to sit there and scratch lottery tickets over and over and over again.
This is when
And
you
to
go by
them,
singles.
I'm not saying the paper's worthless. I'm saying to them, they have no value in the paper because that's not what they're looking for. They'd rather just buy it off a player and make that player's day.
Who would do that? Who would open a whole bunch of packs looking for a single card?
Yeah, but you're gonna. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking because you're gonna play with the cards.
Yeah.
No, I like Capricorn, what you were talking about. I'm a collector and I do play, but I'm more of a collector. And I want to see more access for players. Like I just see by the way, I should say like the 30 Call of the Stones, I've been involved with the team behind Wonders for 4 years. So I've built up all these reward miles. I'm not someone who's like, I've done well. Like I keep putting it back into the ecosystem and it comes back. So I'm not a big whale, but so I look at it like when I'm putting in organic money is that I would love to be able to, I was just in Walmart. I know it's not supposed to be there, but I looked at I'm like looking for the Wonders. Like I just can't help but look. And, am I going to buy it if it's, $59? It's like, I'm just not going to buy it. So I like what you were saying, Capricorn, about the different things to do for the player.
And the thing is they're already kind of halfway there with the alt arts for the mouse and the pink spore. And it's just a matter of, instead of viewing that kind of a hit as, oh, this is a reason why the collectors will buy this product, my mindset is viewing that kind of a hit is, this might be the reason why a player who only bought them for the playability then gets a hit like that and maybe starts to be converted into a collector. So I think they're already like super close to like my dream. And I wouldn't want to go too far in it. I know there have been suggestions on the Discord recently about like finding a perfect in the middle. And I'm not suggesting that at all. I think if it's the lowest price pack, it needs to be 99% towards the player. But if you have that little bit of something that like a player hits and goes, oh man, maybe I should be a collector, I just think that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And hey, if I was a player only and I hit that alt art pink spore, I'd turn around and sell it because that's going to get me 4 more packs. Right? That's what I would do.
Unless you have a pink spore deck and you're like, oh, maybe I can run it. And
I don't play.
Yeah,
That's a discussion for next time because I don't play collector cards. I don't understand blinging out your deck. That makes 0 sense to me.
I do definitely think the one big hit that they should put in the next pack is a new card called the Smartest Man Alive, and it should be a rarer than Mythic is what it should be, and it should automatically give you attuned without having the land type for all your cards in the whole deck, so that you don't make mistakes like I did in Orlando. That's what I want. That's my dream.
Hindsight's 2020, man. It's 2020.
Give me that card.
All right. Well, I appreciate American Texan bringing up his show. So as we sign out, let's go around and just hear what you guys have been working on, what you have cooking. So Ben, I think I made a mistake in the beginning and I apologize. We were chatting before the show. And so I did not do the introduction. I should have for, of course, Be a Hero Gaming. My apologies. But Ben, talk to us about what's going on with your channel and what we can look forward to.
Hey, no problem, man. You know, again, like we talked about a couple times ago, everybody talks about their schedule. Man, I'm so unscheduled. I literally just, I'll go for a few days and I'll do a video. I'll do a video every other day. Usually I just have some idea, some thought on the Discord. I'm playing a game, I'm opening packs, and I think of an idea and I do a video on it. So nothing really planned right now. I already did my video on my Halloween packs I'm going to pass out. I have a couple other Kickstarter games that I might cover, but more Wonder stuff to come.
Am I the only one who's thinking that Ben should have been making 200 shows that the radio was opening those cases and boxes?
For real, for real. You should have.
You know,
been,
I thought
you should have
about
been
that.
ripping those packs.
I should be videoing this. What if I pull the Emma Stone foil after my 5 millionth pack opening up with nothing? I was like, I'm so glad I didn't video this stuff. There's nothing in these.
Capricorn, which, and by the way, for folks who are just tuning in live and didn't see the beginning and they might not go back, it's like tonight you joined us, you raced back from Boston to your home just so you could join the show. And what were you doing? You were converting?
Yeah, so I ran a Learn to Play booth at Wicked Comic Con in Boston today. It was pretty crazy. We got a lot of younger kids who are into Pokemon, surprisingly. They all wanted to play. And they're all much smarter than me. You know, I'm trying to like tone down my language and try to make it as simple as possible. And they like know more than me, and they have a better vocabulary. And I'm like, all right, these kids know what they're doing. And they all had a good time. There were a few Magic players that popped in, but overall it was kind of a success.
Was there any negative feedback at all?
I go to, they run that every year, so it was destiny.
Sorry, Capricorn. Was there any negative feedback?
No, actually. There was one guy that didn't want his face on video. That's really it. Nobody said anything negative about the game, though.
Yeah.
In fact, usually you get at least one person that brings up like how they feel about the art. None of that. I actually had a few people say how awesome they thought the art was, which was really refreshing, because
cool.
Sometimes you get the negative Nancy's, you know.
Sure.
And,
well, and then, so you mentioned the video, so we're gonna see that on your channel.
Yeah, I'll do a quick recap video. I got a lot of stuff coming. I have a deck tech for a pink Spore Dream Cap deck, so that people that are lucky enough to pull those, they'll have a cool deck that they can maybe build with that stuff. I put up a video detailing some sealed strategy and how I build my deck, and I'm going to go a little bit more into detail with that stuff in a future video.
That was good. If you haven't seen that, watch that. That was good.
Yeah, I'm going to break down my whole pool from Orlando in the next video and show you why I made the card decisions I made. And I just really want to get everybody on the same page going into these SCG Con events and competing in sealed, because I love sealed. It's one of my favorite ways to play. And then beyond that, I'm going to Baltimore. I'm going to Houston. I'm going to be filming all of the finals matches for all of the main events. So if you guys want to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the meta and what's doing well live, like all that stuff's going to be coming. It's going to be wild. And then that will culminate in Vegas. So lots of content on the way for sure.
And that's the one time what happens in Vegas won't stay in Vegas, because we'll watch your channel. All right.
Well, it depends. If I say I'm the smartest man alive and then I am not the smartest man alive, I hope that will stay in Vegas. Definitely didn't stay in Orlando.
Grace.
I have I need to edit a video for tomorrow, actually. So I'll probably do that and then post it at some point tomorrow. That's a very opinion-based video based on some of the conversations that happened in the Discord over the past couple of days. And I might get some heat for talking about how I believe Discord etiquette should be carried out. Like, maybe we should be nice to each other. And then I'm also I'm waiting for some mail to come in, because I've figured out what I'm going to be collecting for Call of the Stones. I definitely do not have the budget to do another like full collection. So when that when that comes in, y'all will get to find out what I'm going to be collecting from Call of the Stones, and I'm pretty excited.
Awesome. American Texan.
Yeah, American Texan plays on YouTube. Every Tuesday is a mail day video. I've got some mail here, including a Givey pack, so I'll be ripping a pack there. On Thursday, I'm going to be showing a deck that I made out of an idea, and I actually got it on the board. We recorded a game, and I actually won pretty fairly handedly, and I think it could become something, so I'm excited for that. So American Texan Plays, go subscribe on YouTube for all that. Try to do 3 videos a week.
Yeah, and unlike Ben, you actually were recording your pack openings, right?
You should, man. People, even the nothing packs, people watch them on my YouTube shorts. So I mean, I don't know why, but they like seeing it.
We like seeing the pack ripping vicariously. I love watching them.
All right. Well, listen, it's been my honor to host this. I appreciate everybody joining us. This has been Creators of the First, and I want to give my thanks to American Texan, Be Hero Gaming, Wonders Workshop, Capricorn. That's going to do it for us this week. Take